Righty, week two. God, week one was different than any other week I've experienced here at City College. And I've been teaching online for a little while. And I think it's just that there's so much going on for students and, of course, for us. So, and our president said this, and I see if I get it right? Having grace, patience, and understanding is really important for all of us during this time and really any time. So I'm just glad that you made it to the end of week one. If you didn't get this part of how I do this, this is the end of week one, and I record for the week coming in. And what I do is I grade the work that you did last night, and for the most part, seems like most of you, and like a nice, wonderful percentage from my perspective, got this done and didn't seem to have any issues with it. So that's awesome. And the other thing is, I actually looked at some of the questions that you pose, and I'm going to try to answer a couple of them for sure. And if for some reason, I don't, please flag this again in this reply. So remember, what will happen, and before I jump in, is that at noon today, and I'm recording this in the morning after I get back from my workout, is I come back from my workout, I sit down, I grade your work, and then I record this video. So it's fresh in my brain. But the thing I will do at noon today is that will cut off your time to be able to reply. And many of you have, so this is not an issue. So then I will open up week two. The content for week two is like for the attendance is just that generic. So if you get in there and you wonder why there's not a video to help you understand, but now that I've recorded this, I will make it available and open that up for you to reply to. And the other thing is even though it's due on Friday, I generally, and the other items are due before it, I generally say if you can, watch it at the beginning of week two, because it will help you kind of understand some of the things you may run into, just gives you a good start to the week. So what's cool for me this semester is some of the questions that I'm getting are, wow, I can actually see that I'm still, I should have changed my shirt. I'm actually still looking like when I worked out this morning, which, not a bad thing. We should all be getting, and I noticed when I was reviewing your days, many of you do get exercise in, and if you're not, I highly recommend it. So one of the questions I got, and I'm going to handle it first, is about the Wi-Fi. I've asked the campus, and I hope this zooms in as well, like where specifically is there Wi-Fi? And I didn't get the best answer I was hoping for, like specifically, but here's what I would tell you in general. Like they actually did say parking lot K, which is here in the back behind the OAB. But in general, a parking lot that's closer onto campus is going to have a better chance to have Wi-Fi, right? You could try now. Where if it was me, I'd probably go to these first because these are covered with those solar panels, and that's a great way to do it because then your car's not sitting in the heat. And that's a good thing. So, just try to find something closer to campus, and you may have to just put on your little Wi-Fi indicator and drive around a little bit. But do know that, and by the way, give me some feedback if you've tried it and you found some good spots. That way we can let everyone know. And I noticed some of you are on Discord, and that's awesome. Please join that for live interactive stuff. And I'm just reading through some of the comments. The incentive to come to office hours. Oh, that was the other thing about Zoom, right? So in general, like here, and I'm not going to go, well, I could actually, but if I go to the syllabus, and I'll just quickly do this. But in general, right, you do need to, you can do this on a mobile phone, but I'm going to show you this, is that as soon as you click on that link, your computer, if it doesn't already, will try to load an application. It can do it on the web, it can totally do that on the web. And you don't see this, it's on my other screen, so I'll bring it over in a second. So now this is what I see. This is not what you see, right? But when you come in, generally and you can choose video or not. It's really up to you. You can unmute yourself, of course. You can chat with me, of course. But generally, I think chat probably, and you can do that. I actually have talked to several students already. One thing I do allow is and it's really helpful, is for other students to share their screens. Like in this case, I just click share real quick just to give you an idea of what this looks like. So I could share my desktop, right? I have two desktops, so I could share either of them. I could share a whiteboard, and in Google Chrome, the browser, typically you share the desktop. That way you get everything that's going on, right? So I do encourage, because what that allows us to do, let me just get out of here. And by the way, if you're on a Mac, you actually have to take one additional step before you do that. So do know that you have to go into your security and allow screen capture. So anyway, that's the interface. Where I've used it on a mobile phone, I've used it on the desktop. And again, making sure that you're in Canvas before you click on that link will then actually should automatically. You should not need to create an account on Zoom. I think you can, but you don't have to. So just know that that's just the way it works. And what will happen, and this is what I want to say, is if for some reason, I'm just going to click on home and come back here. There I am. So here's the other thing is you can go into Zoom without me being there and I get a notice. So if for some reason I'm actually in conversation with somebody on a regular landline or on a whatever, and I'm not in there, you can go ahead and get in and I will get noticed. We'll get notification that you're in there. So please do, right? So it's really good. And again, this whole incentive thing I'll work out next week. I had a couple of you come, which was totally awesome. And I will have some kind of, when you come in, you and I will have, like I'll have to, you've heard this term triage, right? Like if I have a couple of students in, I'll kind of go, okay, how can I help you? How can I help you? Or I may just have to focus on one, get through it and move to the next. So it really depends. And you can see those office hours there. And the last thing I'm going to say about this is if my Zoom hours don't work for you, reach out, because if I can, I will work it out to where I'll run one just at the time you need it. Again, I'm trying to be as flexible as I can. Okay, so let's see if let me just because I looked at this right before I got started. That's a little download on Zoom, right? Yeah, it's a good time to study web development. I've noticed that we have several students outside of the Fresno area taking classes, so that's an interesting turn of events, right? I talked about the Wi-Fi already, good incentive. So I think I've covered most of it. Okay, so let's do this. Now that I've done that, I'm going to come back up here to the home, and hopefully you're getting used to the way this course is set up. As we move into week 2, right, there's a video, of course, for each of these weeks. And so I don't need to go over the work idea so much as just kind of saying, like, we're studying about understanding the history of the web just a little bit, because it's good to understand, because in doing that, it also lays the foundation. So maybe I am going over it like I said I wouldn't. But these are just, you are going to continue. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. One feedback I want to say about this is when you do Markdown, I want you to make sure that when you're covering the concepts in an outline, covering, like, because what I do is I look at, how do I grade? As I look at how well did you cover the concepts in that video. And the way it makes it easy for you and I to know is by using ordered list or unordered list when you're actually doing that work. And it's easy for me to look at those bullet points and tell if you did. Okay, so do that. And if a couple of you got some points off, that was why, because you would use mostly only headings and not bullet points. So I want to be more clear that that's what I'm looking for is, yes, use headings for those major concepts, but then use ordered or unordered lists, whichever you're comfortable with, to do the concepts. Okay. because we have a couple more this week, of course, coming up, right? You have your normal lectures and then your hands-on. And then I love this because we get into GitHub pages, because this is what we're going to use. Because week 3 is a really, I know instructors say this, but week 3 is really important. As a matter of fact, your week 3 is what my JavaScript and my Python students did in week 1. And so you are going to have a little more heads up for what's coming at you. But it is really an important week because we move from doing work out on GitHub to having a local system that is connected to GitHub that allows us to push our, in this case, code, also markdown files, ultimately some HTML up to GitHub. And GitHub and having Git experience is now just a fundamental skill in this industry. I'm just telling you, I know it can be a pain to learn it sometimes, but it is, to me, in my opinion, based on everything I have learned and many people I talk to, it's just a basic skill that anyone that's around or in or whatever needs to have. Okay, so my goal this week is actually to start looking at week 4. Remember, right, we're a 9-week class, so I try to keep at minimum 2 weeks of content ahead. So because we're moving into week 2 and we have week 3 already available, then I will start looking at week 4 in hopes that I get it out sometime next week. All right. Great time. Thanks for being here. Let's keep the good stuff going and have a wonderful week. Enjoy. It's going to be hot, so let's enjoy it whatever way we can. Peace out.